it's really cool to hand somebody 100-year-old golf club and have them hit a shot. And, boy, when you hit one good, everybody has that same grin on their face. Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robby and Jonathan here. We're going old school today, Jonathan.
We are. I'm sold. We just had a conversation with Clark. You guys get to hear it here in a second. And Hickory Revival, and I'm saved. Like, I'm ready. Put me in the water. The water is fine. I'm just so intrigued. I probably can't hit a hickory club to save my life. There's no way in the world I hit the middle of anything on my golf clubs, but I'm willing to give it a try.
Well, when I was at the Cooler last time, hanging out with Trevor Larson, who does Larson Golf Company, Power Built, he had one of his clubs there, a persimmon driver. And you really have to concentrate because, you're thinking like a regular golf driver head is probably this big. Well, the persimmon club is like this big, and it's just such smaller. And they talk about hitting it on the screws. But yeah, I think it would, like he alluded to. I was going to ask him, but he alluded to it. It makes you a better golfer because you have to be smarter when you're out on the course, not take chances or, hey, I think I can try this. Like, you have to do what the clubs can do.
Well, and even now, like, you can miss it. And we've seen pros do this where they literally tell them to hit it off the toe and see what happens. And the ball doesn't do anything different. There's so much technology in terms of, the technology and people are good, at least better than me. So there's enough technology to help other people play golf better. We're still hoping to find that technological edge to change our game. So maybe I need both. Maybe I need to play the old school to become a better swinger and a better hitter, and then also use the new technology to help where my physical abilities are limited.
Well, we are definitely going to be renting some clubs from him, Hickory
100%.
Revival, and we're going to be filming some videos of us doing a little match play action.
Yeah.
With,
Now we got to find a course, find a time, do it in the spring.
I think others would want to do that too. It is something about, like he said, getting rid of the pressure or the whatever of what you think you need to do in golf and saying, hey, let's have fun.
That's right.
And showing up with some hickory clubs and being like, I'm going to do what these allow me to do, and let's go have fun with it. I think that is so appealing, and that's really why I want to go do it.
It does make me nervous.
You're not going to break the course record. You're probably not going to shoot your best round ever, but you're going to have fun because you're out there doing something different in golf.
It does make me nervous that if you have swing it hard, then apparently you can snap things off. So that's the only nerve-wracking part. But I'm up for the adventure of it for sure.
Yeah, the whole time I want to go like, that's nice, Clark, real nice. But God, yeah, Clark Willard, Hickory Revival. Go check those guys out. Lots of fun. This is a great episode. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Summit Golf Brands. Zero Restriction, Beach Ratty, Fairway and Green. I am wearing where Clark's store is, his shop at the Lido. I am rocking the TKO hoodie from Zero Restriction that I got there at the Lido. That place is phenomenal, by the way. We didn't dig into as much about how awesome that course is, but he is there and is a part of all that, while at the same time building this Hickory Revival company. You got a good Zero Restriction quarter zip there. We love those guys. We know you will as well. If you use BestBall 20 on any of their sites, they'll give you 20% off your order. So go check it out. But this has been a fun episode. Yep. Clark Willard, Hickory Revival. Y'all have fun with it. Go old school. All right, today's guest, Mr. Clark Willard with Hickory Revival. Clark, how are we doing today?
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I was about to tell you, and I was like, let's save this for the recording. But I was there back in September at Sand Valley, and we were playing the Lido, and I was with Jeff Marsh. And I think he starts texting you about mid-round on our front nine, says, I need a putter. This one's not working. And I think you hooked him up maybe with one of the putters, and he improved a good bit on the back nine. So, the product works for sure.
Well,
very nice. Well, Man, we appreciate you joining us. We love what you do. And before we start talking about Hickory Revival, let's jump into your story. Like, when did golf become a
Yeah,
thing for you?
I started playing golf in high school. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and had a good friend that was a year older than me on the high school team, and he talked me into coming out. And so that would have been 10th grade. I started playing, and we didn't have many folks on our high school golf team. So by the time I got to my junior year, and then certainly my senior year, I was able to go to most of the matches, which was a lot of fun. And then that friend went on to NC State in their golf management program. And same thing, he talked me into it again. So so off I went to Raleigh, and just had a blast there. And one of the parts of the program that got me interested in it was the fact that you had to do your 16 months of internships for your PGA, through college. So that sounded like a good way to get out and explore the country a little bit. And that's how I wound up at Bandon Dunes the first time. So I went for 7 months and worked out there. That would have been 2011. And then I graduated and worked a year in Raleigh there at Lonnie Pool, the NC State golf course, and decided it was time to go back to the coast. So that's how I got back to Bandon the next time. But
Very nice. How long were you at
that
Bandon
was
at that time?
about 1 year, maybe a little more than a year. So altogether about 2 months or 2 years total at Bandon Dunes, working in the Pack Dunes golf shop, once as an intern and then once when I had got done with school.
Very nice. That place is high up on our bucket list. I mentioned to you before earlier here to finally made it to Sand Valley, but yeah, I need to go check out some more of the
Yeah,
dream
you'll
golf
have to forgive
properties
me.
for
Where's
sure.
home base for you?
So just south of where you
Oh,
grew up,
cool.
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, and Jonathan's there in Augusta, Georgia. Not many people have heard of that one in the golf world.
Man, that's there's a lot of golf being built down there, Jonathan.
There is, between me and Robby, there are quite a number of courses that seem to be popping up on people's golf to-do list, if you will. But it sounds like you've been living basically every middle-aged man's dream in terms of like, okay, so I went to college, I stayed involved in golf, then I got to go to Bandon twice, and now you're at Sand Valley. So when did that transition happen? Was that as soon as you left Bandon? You just said, oh, I'm going to go over to Sand Valley now, and you've been living the rest of your life there?
Well, so the a little more detailed version, that's the gist. But while I was out there, and you have to keep in mind, I grew up pretty much like a North Carolina beach bum. So the reason that I worked at these places was so that I could surf better waves. So but anyways, so I was very, I love Bandon with my whole heart, and I love living there in the town, and it's just a beautiful stretch of coast that's not too busy. The weather's rough enough that population doesn't seem to flourish there. So when I was working in Bandon that second time, I met this beautiful lady, and of course that's how I got to Wisconsin. So she was from Wisconsin. Her family's here, and before they had built Sand Valley, she had met some of the early founders, and they got her in touch with the Kaisers. And long story short, she went out to Bandon to work for 18 months and learn how it all went to come back and help open Sand Valley. So I pretty much invited myself and asked if they had a spot, and they were kind enough to have me. And that was 10 years ago. That was we moved here in May of 2016. So we just got done with our 10th golf season at Sand Valley.
Well, I was just about to ask, you're still at the golf course. Are you still with the same woman or?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
She's my lovely wife.
That's great.
Yep.
Very nice. What's her name by chance?
Chelsea Sorbo, or Chelsea Willard.
So we met Chelsea last year when we went to the cooler at Landman. She was with Brandon Carter and that crew. And so we got to meet her there. So Very nice. Yeah, we know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, very talented photographer as well. So yeah, very very nice. Well, cool. So that's a great story to get you off the coast where you like the surfing and the beach and all that fun stuff to head to the middle where there is no surfing of the country, but there is some incredible golf. So what roles did you served there at Sand Valley?
Yeah, there. Well, I will add quickly. We have surfed in Lake Michigan a handful of times, so
Okay.
it's just not good, but it's better than nothing. But but yeah, I've been very fortunate. I do enjoy a challenge, and I enjoy learning new things. And I've been fortunate to have a variety of roles here at Sand Valley, from assistant golf pro and head golf pro to for 4 years. I got to start kind of like a guest services department, and we called it Clark's Cabin, and it's, kind of handles some of the arrival and departure logistics for larger groups and the on-site transportation. And so that was a great job, but it got me through a lot too. Through getting married, and then Chelsea hiked the Pacific Crest Trail one year, which kind of perfectly overlapped a golf season. Got me through COVID. So, that was a great job. And then after a while, I got, a little stir crazy or curious about a new challenge, and that's when the Lido was coming on. And so they were kind enough to let me get involved over there, and I worked as the assistant pro and then the head pro there. And that's when I was able to build out the Hickory Revival shop, which has been a blessing for sure. And then I was still feeling like I was ready for adventure. So 2 seasons ago, I switched over to be a greenskeeper because I'd always been curious about the agronomy side. And I was also curious if I could turn Hickory Revival into something a little more grand, like a legitimate small business. And I didn't want to shortchange my responsibilities as the golf professional at the Lido, obviously. And so I stepped away, but I'm still there every day. So it's kind of neat how it's all worked out. So that's what I've been up to the last 2 seasons.
Well, and in case you just saw the title of this, Hickory Revival is not a new Baptist church in Hickory, North Carolina. It's actually restoring golf clubs. So talk about that. Like, where does that come from? Because if someone said, "Hey, Jonathan, I got an idea," or if I had an idea to start restoring golf clubs, the very first person in my life that would tell me no is my wife, because I have zero ability to fix things. So where does that come into, like, who you are and your creativity to somehow figure out how to fix clubs?
Yeah. Well, I'm very fortunate. My wife, and it goes both ways, but we're both supportive of our crazy endeavors. But in 2018, I had an injury. And so I was coming back from that. And a friend sent me some hickory shafted golf clubs and said, give them a try while you have some time. So that's how I started tinkering with them. And I've always been a tinkerer and like working with my hands. And man, I just enjoyed it. And I knew a little bit about carpentry. I'm a bad carpenter, but still dabbled. And then becoming a PGA professional, I was at least aware of most club repair. Not to say I was an expert in club repair, but I had a little bit of both sides going. And I just like the uniqueness of it, and how it helps you dive into the history of golf, which is so rich and deep. um but yeah, so I started fixing them, and from there I would call it an upward spiral of fixing clubs and playing hickory golf. And then I started taking them to work, and my coworkers and the guests would get excited, and I would hand them out for people to play. And it's really cool to hand somebody 100-year-old golf club and have them hit a shot. And, boy, when you hit one good, everybody has that same grin on their face. Like, I can't believe this is happening. The sound, the sensation. Oh man, it's, to hit a good golf shot with the 100-year-old golf club is a very special experience. And that got me fired up to keep going. And so then I found more clubs and fixed more clubs, and that's how it all got started.
I like that upward spiral.
Yeah.
And now you're able to rent them out for folks at Sand Valley, right? Maybe not just the Lido, but other courses as well. So if somebody wants to go out and try around, play around with Hickory clubs, they come to you, right?
Absolutely. So at this point, we have, I mean, we always have at least a dozen sets ready to go, and we have lefty sets. So Jonathan,
Nice.
we got you covered, buddy.
There were
But yeah,
left-handers back then?
what's that?
There were left-handers back then, 100
Oh
years ago?
yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they're available all across property. It just so happens that, with my workshop being at the Lido in the Lido golf shop and being that I was working over there, that's kind of where we home base, but they are available and we've helped, boy, I mean, I've shipped them all over and, um, being a PGA professional, I understand, sometimes golf pros are looking for ways to spice up events. So we've sent them around and ran lots of different styles of events. And yeah, that's there's a few main pillars of Hickory Revival. One is trying to save these really cool artifacts from a state of uselessness. And so it's one part for the clubs. And then the other, as we were talking about, is for the golfers because it's such a unique experience and such a treat to play 100-year-old golf club. And so and then that third part is diving into the history of golf. We're fortunate we love a game where there is such a rich and deep history. I don't know, I've never seen 100-year-old basketball or anything like that, but we can go play a 100-year-old course with 100-year-old clubs, and that's why the Lido fits in so well. But across Sand Valley and all across Dream Golf properties, it's very linksy in its style and lends itself well to the ground game and bump and running, and that certainly plays into Hickory golf. So it's a wonderful playground for Hickory golf. The style of architecture on the courses really lends itself well to playing hickories out there.
So what does it mean to have hickory? For those of us, including me, I have no idea because I've seen wooden heads, but is it the shaft as well? Like, what is it about these clubs that, I mean, 100 years ago, I don't know. I'm assuming they weren't using like titanium or some sort of carbon fiber. So how were they building them and how do you restore them, or what level do you restore them to the original?
Yeah, great question. So I do throw the term around hickory, kind of loosely. So thank you for that. So up until 1935, they were producing wooden shafted golf clubs. The vast majority of those are hickory lumber. So that is, the hickories as we know them. The woods still had wooden heads. Um, so once they started logging in North America and they found hickory and persimmon, they never really looked back. The hickory was a great shaft material. We see it used in axe handles, wagon wheel spokes, things of that nature. It's very, it takes impact very well and that shock, but it also has a nice give to it. So once they found hickory, before that they were using ash and before golf came over to North America, they had a few others, but like Sam Snead grew up playing, ash shafts. But once they found hickory, they didn't really look back. They did experiment with bamboo for a while, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
So around 1925, they started realizing that, the future of golf clubs is particularly shaft materials wasn't hickory. They couldn't sustain, and they were really selective with what hickory they would use, so not all hickory lumber was good for golf shafts. And the advances in machining for steel had come a long way. The first steel shafts, some of them were solid steel that they would drill holes through for weight reduction. Obviously that's not going to work, so they couldn't produce steel thin enough to roll it into a tubular shaft like we know. So anyways, those advances were coming on. So between 1925 and 35, they offered a lot of clubs in both. And so they were kind of phasing out hickory. And then in 1935, so if you find old clubs with a metal shaft, but it has like a yellow coating on it, that's called a pyrotone shaft. And the funny thing is, they were doing that because people were kind of spooked about these metal shafts. So that coating, to your eye made it look more like a wooden shaft. So that was kind of a deep dive. But in the same for persimmon, they use lots of other woods for the club heads, excuse me, leading up to that. But when they found persimmon, it was hard, but it was workable as well. So that's why it was such a good choice for club heads.
In a set of hickory clubs, if somebody was going to rent some, what now we can have 14 clubs in the bag. Like what am I carrying when I rent a set of hickory clubs?
Yeah, I try to hone in our rental sets around 8 clubs.
Okay.
Part of the fun of hickory golf is having to be crafty and really use your golf imagination and creativity, and part of the fun is not having the club for every single shot and having to craft something. And also, being that most of the clubs are named and not numbered, 8 clubs seems to be 8, 9 clubs, 7, 8, 9 is a good area where, the lofts are clearly different. And I do try and write notes on the lofts of the clubs for folks to be able to decipher what they're looking at. But any more than 8 or 9 clubs, and you start to have too many options. If you're playing hickories one time, you don't need a whole 14 clubs. But Chick Evans set a U.S. Open scoring record with 7 clubs in the bag, and that stood for I think like 20 years. And Alex Finley was the first gentleman to shoot 72 in competition, and he played with 3 clubs. So you don't need too many. But it seems like 8 is a good happy medium for our rental sets, where you have plenty of choices, but not too many to the point that it makes it tough to make decisions out there.
What do they look like? So am I getting a shaft made of wood? Is the head made of wood? Is the whole entire thing like, are you back in the shop with a pocket knife, like wilting, little shaving some wood off and turning into shapes and sizes?
Yeah, well, I've dabbled with club making, but most of what I do is restoring these original clubs because I think it's cool to get them back out on the course. So at this era from 1900 on, generally speaking, that was the Haskell ball. So you would have mostly irons and then some woods, very similar to what we have in our sets today. So most of your clubs will have an iron head and a hickory shaft, and then your woods, which would be maybe 2 in a rental set, would be hickory shaft and a persimmon head. A brassy is like a 2 wood. A spoon is like a 3 wood. A driver was still called a driver. So driver and putter, those names hung on. But yeah, that's kind of what you'd be expecting.
Hand me my spoon.
Yeah, that's fun to say.
If you find, like, I literally just had someone give me, they found in their garage, so it's an old set of the bag's an old set of clubs plus some regular irons, but it has wood heads on the driver and a 3 wood. If I took them out today and hit them, like, am I breaking things? Am I destroying history and lineage and stories? Or is that something you should probably get fixed or restored before you decide to take them out on a course?
It does depend what era those clubs are from, but by far and large, most old golf clubs are not museum quality. It would be a very much an exception. So I say go play them. Now, when it comes to hickories specifically, there should be a little bit of work performed on them, which will help them live a lot longer. So specifically in the irons, there's a pin going through the hosel that keeps the cone would be like the part of the shaft that goes into the hosel, and there's a pin going through that. At this point, that 100-year-old horsehide glue has failed, and so now all the stress is riding on that pin. So it is very wise at the bare minimum to knock the pin out, pull the head off, clean everything in there, scrub up the cone, and then reset it with modern epoxy. And I do try and keep it as traditional as I can, but if old Tom had modern epoxy, he would have been using it, no doubt.
Yeah. You think he would probably use a new Titleist driver too, though. But how are you finding and coming across all these old clubs? Like, are you just going or asking people, hey, look in storage, go to yard sales? Like, where are these things coming from?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. So now, this is 7 years or so doing this, and my network has grown, and I've had better access to larger lots of clubs, but you can certainly find them on eBay. And, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's always fun to keep your eyes peeled for them. But yeah, at the start it was kind of 1 and 2 at a time, and I had that friend that was kind of into it that had sent me some clubs, so he sent me some, and now I'm to the point I can pick them up in a little bit bigger batches, which helps save me a lot of time and not having to scour and shop so much. I can just pick up a bunch and get to work fixing them. But there really are a lot of maybe more folks than you would think out there playing hickory golf. So if you hop on, Facebook and look for hickory golf groups, I mean, the Carolinas has a good crowd of people. Where I am in Wisconsin has a great section, hickory golf group. So if you do a little research, you can probably find a hickory event, and hickory golfers are very generous with their knowledge. People have taught me so much. A lot of this stuff you can't just Google, which is kind of neat, I think. And you have to, go shake somebody's hand and learn from somebody, which I think is a beautiful part of it. But they're all very generous, and a lot of times somebody will loan you a set or give you a few clubs to start fixing up. So I just recommend a little research and link up with some active hickory golfers. They'd be happy to take you under their wing.
That's awesome. So are you, I know you're renting and you can kind of ship out for events and things like that. Are you selling them as well?
I do occasionally. I'm very fortunate with where, my workshop is at the Lido. There's lots of people coming by, and so I can't personally fix enough clubs to get everybody a set that inquires, but I do try my best. And the Lido members have definitely been getting into it. As you get more laps around the Lido, uh, that's when you really start to get curious. I mean, it's already very difficult. So then you want to see how hard was it with these clubs? And so the Lido members are definitely getting into it more. And to that point, if you are a guest at Sand Valley, the Lido's probably not the course I mean, you want to take your gamers, you get one crack at it. So, I totally understand. But if you are playing around more, a course more than once during your trip, that's a great time to go take hickories for a spin. The sandbox is a lot of fun, but it is fun to hit the woods, so taking them on a big course is really neat. I think the Commons, the 12-hole routing by Jimmy Craig that's coming on next year, will lend itself well to hickory golf.
That would be a
But
fun, yeah, that would be a fun one to play with hickories on for sure.
yeah.
What is it about a golf course that lends itself to hickory? Is that, as you mentioned before, is it the link style? Is it more of instead of a 8,000 yard course, is it a shorter course, or what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. And it's mostly, they don't spin, right? Not like we're used to. So it's hard to impart a ton of spin on the ball. And generally speaking, the landing angle is a little more shallow, so the ball is going to run more on the ground. So, the fast firm conditions we have here at Sand Valley and across the Dream Golf properties lends itself well. And if you think about the architecture here, almost every green you could run a shot into. And so that's really what I'm getting at is you can play the ground game and run your approach shots in and embrace the fact that the ball is going to roll out and use that creativity. So that's what makes it good for hickory golf.
If there's no spin, does that mean I no longer have a slice if I use a hickory golf? Because I'm sold if I just gets rid of my slice.
I will say you can still shape the ball, but
Oh,
a
there's no
fun
shape.
fact.
It's just a
Yeah,
slice.
yeah. Oh man, but well, we could fix that too. But with the hickory shafts, they're much heavier than our modern shafts,
Okay.
and so that does tighten up your dispersion typically. To get high tech on you with some TrackMan stats, but yeah, it's pretty neat. So it could help you tighten your dispersion, I would say, and you're not hitting it as far. So a degree or two offline when you're hitting it 220 yards versus 300 yards is it's closer to the center of the fairway.
Next time we go overseas, Robby, I'm picturing trying to use hickory at at a carn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's what I'm thinking. Like Jonathan and I will do occasionally when we get together and play. It's like, hey, let's not just play 18 holes, but let's have some kind of a challenge, right? Like we've done like pick 4 clubs, or I'll take a club from his bag every now and then if I beat him on a hole. And I'm thinking, Jonathan, we rent some from Clark.
We need
and
to do a hickory challenge,
and we pick a course that has good, like he's saying, good opportunity to run balls up onto the green, things like that. And let's do some hickory challenges. That would be a lot of fun.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, Clark, we'll be in touch on that. That'll be a lot of fun.
There you go. Well, let me know if you need a rules official.
Oh, come on. Come on. How high can you count? That's the question.
Yeah.
If you're scorekeeping for us, yeah.
We'll do
We could
match play.
We could play Old
Match play
Barnwell.
for sure.
We could play Old Barnwell with hickories.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be a good course.
That'd be a great course. Definitely the kids' course for sure. But
oh man, I'm sold.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So, what's next? I mean, we keep talking about in courses or not courses, but manufacturers are going crazy technology, let people hit it farther. And like you said, lower dispersion, not lose balls and make it more gamer or whatever else. And you're going the opposite direction. So what's next for what you can do with the old school golf stuff?
Yeah, I think, and I'm not strongly opinionated on there's one way to play golf. I think it's all good. I think one of my passions is just helping people have fun outside, and I also like to not take myself too seriously, and I think playing hickory golf is a fun way to just kind of set the expectations aside for a little while and just go play golf and not really worry about calculating the results too much and appreciate where the game has come from. And we're keeping something out of a dumpster or an attic somewhere, so that's pretty neat. So that's kind of what gets me going. But I mean, I like it all. I still have a modern set of clubs if I get asked to play a tournament, or if a Lido member asks me to play. I typically ask, how much is on the line, and then I'll figure out whether I should play my modern clubs or hickory. But I try and keep my game in check with both sets. So yeah, I mean, to each their own. And I just think it's a fun way to mix it up a little bit. And if you do take the deep dive into hickory golf, there's all kinds of tournaments and Society of Hickory Golfers, and there's a lot of ways to take a deeper dive. I just am fortunate working here that I can help somebody have that one-time experience. And then from there, if you want to pursue it further, I'll help you any way I can. Power to you. But yeah, there's, when you think about how many golfers there are in the world, very few have got to, experience golf history by playing an old club.
Well,
Yeah.
talk about that experience though, in the sense of expectations. So it sounds like you're a good golfer. If you were a golf pro and teaching people how to hit a ball, then you probably don't do too shabby. So what does it look like if you go out with a modern set of clubs and you're playing golf? You're going to shoot X and your distance is going to be X. What does it look like on hickory from Y? Like, am I going to lose 20 strokes because I'm losing 100 yards on every single club? Or is it really the golfer? Or, I mean, because I've used Acuity from Dick's Sporting Goods, and now I have better golf clubs, and they go a little bit further, and they usually don't go as far left and right as they used to. So where's that shift in hickory? Is it like taking a full step back in time, and suddenly, your driver's 150-yard shot from the gold tees?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but I'll try and be concise. And I'll start with, we do play modern golf balls still. The true antique golf balls they're out of round, and that is a piece of golf history. If you find a 100-year-old Haskell ball, that's something to put on a shelf and cherish. And it's going to be out of round anyways and probably fall to pieces. So I encourage, especially in this context here, playing your favorite soft, high quality modern golf ball. And that helps bridge the gap a little, right? At least there's one part of this equation that we're familiar with, and we can take that with us. So that being said, I think we get a little more yardage in that respect. But yeah, let's say I can hit my modern driver 290, a good hickory drive with my brassy, which has, let's call it 12 or 13 degrees of loft, would be, 220 plus the roll, maybe 210 plus the roll. So it does make a difference on distance, but also from a strategy standpoint is where it gets real interesting. The Niblick, which would be your most lofted club, they didn't have a lot of bounce on their higher lofted clubs. And if you think about the advances in turf grass, specifically irrigation, they needed that sharp leading edge or negative bounce to really get the ball was always sitting in some kind of depression most of the time. So they would use that sharp leading edge to get the face down onto the golf ball. We kind of think that's crazy until you process the context of it. And I do try and pick niblets or adjust them to at least get you, somewhere close to neutral. And so you can open it a little and find some bounce. But, a greenside bunker shot, all of a sudden, especially with the equipment we use today, that's a big change. So after you're in a few greenside bunkers, you start to realize, boy, this isn't good, And so as opposed to like, all right, I can get up and down or from the bunker, it really starts to change how you're thinking about how to play this golf hole. And so that's really neat as well. I thought I had one more there, but maybe it'll come to me later. But yeah, there's certainly some differences. I think good hickory golfers tend to you just really accept what's in front of you. You're not going to overpower anything. You just have to be a little more tactical, a little more conservative in your planning and hit that higher percentage shot to work your way around and avoid the big mistakes and the big trouble. And there's, that kind of bleeds into there's a number of things when I go back to my modern clubs that Hickory Golf I feel helps my modern game with. And that strategy and really just trying not to get too cute, always gets me in trouble with my modern clubs because I feel like I can pull it off, and then I'm humbly reminded that I can't, or at least not enough times out of 10 to actually try this shot in a round of golf. But they're also a lot less forgiving. That was my last point. Perimeter weighting and things of that nature were certainly not in play necessarily. So a well-struck shot off the center of the face is going to perform a lot like they would with our modern clubs. What you see the big difference is when we start to miss that centerness of contact, our modern clubs are much more forgiving.
Yeah.
So it is a nice reminder that hitting the center of the club is very important, and that still helps our modern game. And one of the funniest places I see it is in the putters. These flat blade style putters. If you're not hitting it in the same part of the blade every time, your distance control is shot. And so we never really think about perimeter weighting on our putters today, but it sure is impactful. And I guess maybe we're seeing more of it with the MOI and the center shafted. And, there's a lot of talk about that. But boy, when you go play one of these blade style putters, it makes you appreciate a modern putter big time.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
I know. I'm ready to go play.
Sign me up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hickory Challenge next year. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, God, man, that's. I guess one other question on the technical side. I was thinking of this while you were talking. What kind of grips are you throwing on these things? Are you trying? I mean, I'm guessing if they were leather back in the day, then that's probably kind of dry riding things. Are you putting new Golf Pride grips on all these clubs, or what are you doing?
Well, no. I do take pride in the new grips I put on them, but I buy leather, big hides and half hides, and my leather lingo's not great. And most leather manufacturers are referencing the smooth side of the leather. So most time I just go into the leather shop. Oh no, I'll make a big trip and buy a bunch that'll last me a while and just kind of get touchy feely till I find the hides that seem like they'd be good grip material and, take them home. And I know what size suits my preference for applying them. And yeah, so they're mostly cowhide. There's some other materials mixed in, but they're leather wraps.
Very nice. I like it. God, I think I could keep asking questions all day long about this stuff. This is fascinating. But we don't want to keep you forever. So let's kind of move towards the end. We ask some similar questions every time we have somebody on. One of them is we want the story of your most memorable golf shot.
Oh man. That and I should have known this was coming. I listened to a few episodes to get familiar with it, and man, can I circle back to that one?
Yeah, we'll save that one for the very end then.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll jump into our quick 9. These are more rapid fire off top of your head questions.
All right. First question is, what is your favorite course that you've ever played?
I'm going to go with a James Braid routing called Ray, Reay, on the very northern tip of Scotland.
I was actually down a rabbit hole the other day. I want to go back to the Highlands of Scotland, and I saw that course. So yeah, very nice. What course is at the top of your bucket list?
Uh, well, since we're in Scotland, let's go with the old course. I've been to St. Andrews, but only as a tourist. We didn't have time to play golf, so I'd love to go play hickories on the old course.
Well,
Oh,
I think there's still time. You can try to
I think
sign up.
I think the
to
reverse
end.
is over. That yeah, it's closed now. But yes, you can go play the old course for sure.
Yeah. All right. What is the favorite course that no one knows about?
Oh man, I should have saved Ray. Let me see here. Well, I'll kind of bend the rules. The old sheep ranch was a real treat, and so it's obviously not in existence anymore. And the new sheep ranch is fantastic, and that piece of property is so beautiful. I think they did the right thing because now so many more people can go and enjoy that special piece of land. But the old sheep ranch was really a treat. So I'll bend the rules for myself. I'm sorry about that.
It's
I
all right.
love it. No, who would be in your dream foursome?
Oh man, I'll bring back Alex Finley into the conversation. He was a Scottish gentleman who came to the States to be a cowboy and then wound up he got kicked in the head by a horse and almost died, and then he went back to being a golf pro. So he's in for sure. Would love to hear those stories. Let's get my boy John Daly involved. He seems like a hoot to play with. I feel like the entertainment value would be great, and I'd love to watch him hit shots. And maybe Ken Venturi, and we'll just see how everybody gets along. Just an eclectic blend.
I love it. I think
Daly's
John Daly's swing speed might snap a few hickory
right.
shafts.
I call that job security.
There you go.
All right. This is one of our new questions this year. What is your golf kryptonite?
Huh. Probably having my mind in too many places at once, and I think that's why golf is so valuable in the kind of fast paced world we live in. Where we're used to dealing with a lot of information and stimulating things and screens and all this and that. And, I think we can all agree we play our best golf, or we tend to play better golf when we're just focused on what's right in front of us and not thinking about what's for dinner or what did I do or not get done today or what do I have to do tomorrow. And I like that it keeps you honest. It reminds you that you have to be present if you want to play your best golf.
Indeed, you do.
Good answer.
All right. What's your favorite snack on the golf course?
Oh man, let's go with the Sand Valley energy balls that come in the little golf sleeve. Those are awesome.
Those are so good.
They come in a
loved it.
golf sleeve too?
Yeah, it looks like golf balls.
Oh my
They were-
gosh.
I had a fair share of those in September. Yes.
Sounds great. All right. What is your favorite golf course logo?
Man, I'm partial to Bandon. I mean, the puffin, it's awesome, and it's obviously a special place in my heart, and it's just fun to see it everywhere. I mean, man, you can't go to a golf event and not see a puffin floating around out there somewhere.
Yeah. When we make our trip there, we will acquire many Puffin logo things. So that leads to the next question then. What's your favorite, and maybe you don't, but what's your favorite pro shop purchase?
Oh man, a chair from Augusta. I mean, you can get a lot of mileage out of those things when you bring them home.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Great answer.
I thought he was going like rocking chair, like he stole it from the clubhouse or something like that.
I mean, I like my zero restriction hoodie I got there from Lido, but that's a pretty good one.
All right, and last question here. Well, before we get back to your most infamous golf shot, finish this sentence. The best part of golf is.
Well, to me, it's being in the golf industry. As much as I love the game of golf, this is kind of what I've done for a career, and I just love the people I get to meet and the places I get to go and the experiences I've had through working in the business, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, very nice. All right, now back to your story. Have you thought of your most memorable golf shot?
Well, I've got one. I'm sure I'll kick myself and come up with something better later, but Chelsea and I went on a camping excursion to play. There's one Sand Greens golf course in Wisconsin, or at least there was when we did this 5 years ago or so. But it had rained like crazy, and it was not a well-drained piece of property. And so a number of the greens were underwater. And but somehow I chipped in twice that day with my jigger, which is like a bump and run club. And I don't know how, but maybe I'm better at chipping in when the greens are under 2 inches of water. I can't explain it. I don't know how it happened.
Sounds like a great trip.
Oh man, what an experience. This has been a lot of fun. So tell everybody where they can find out more info about Hickory Revival.
Yeah, we're on, Instagram's the one we're on the most out of the social media platforms. We do have a little website. It's kind of like a welcome page, but there's an opportunity to sign up and drop us a line. You can email Hickory Revival. It's howdy@hickoryrevival.com. And I do have a Hickory hotline. I got that this year but I can't remember the number yet. So just shoot me a email or find us on Instagram, and I'm always happy to answer any questions I can to the best of my ability. So if nothing else, I'll try for you. So if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out, and be great to hear from folks.
You should see if you get 1-800-HICKORY as your phone number.
I know. At least I could remember that one.
Right, exactly.
There you go. Clark, this has been a lot of fun, man. Very fascinating stuff. If nothing else, Jonathan and I are ready to go out and play some hickories. But I think many of the listeners of this podcast will be interested in doing that as well. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Well, I greatly appreciate the opportunity, and I hope I can be with you when you swing some lumber.
Let's do it. Well,
All
tell your wife, Chelsea, we said hello. She might not remember us, but it was a lot of fun being with her. A lot of fun being with you today. So for Clark and Jonathan, this is Robby. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.